Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we are going to be talking about Andrew Yang's perfect cabinet. And I'm going to tell you who Andrew Yang's perfect choice for Secretary of Transportation is. And that gentleman is Robert Charles Wilson. He is an American science fiction writer, right? He wrote a book called Spin. This book is very, very special and very unique, and it marks Robert Charles Wilson as an amazing thought leader, okay? All right, so let's talk about the book Spin. So the book Spin is about, there's no spoilers here. The book Spin is about specifically the Earth is covered with a dome, a black dome, right? And the sky, there's no more day, right? It's just nighttime everywhere. And the dome allows heat from the sun to come in, but it cuts off the sky from everybody on Earth can no longer see the stars, and they can no longer see the sun, which the sun, of course, is a star. Anyway, so basically, and it's a first contact novel, and here's the thing, all right? First contact novels are a dime a dozen. I love them. I eat them like potato chips. I've read a lot of first contact novels. And Spin is by far one of my favorites. There's a lot of really good, first contact novels, but Spin is truly special, and I really, really, very much like that book. All right, so here's the thing. Science fiction book. So I'm an evangelical Christian. I actually read science fiction almost as like a battering ram against my Christianity. And one of the things is the Bible says, hey, ask questions. Test the Lord, right? There's parts that say don't test the Lord, but it's saying, hey, don't have any fear of testing what I've taught you in this Bible against the world or against other things, right? And so I'm always looking for somebody who has a bigger or better idea. And I'll tell you, I've read 510 books in my life now, and I've never found anything even close to the Bible, right? But some brilliant, brilliant ideas come in science fiction. And I actually become, I walk away from all these very secular books really very assured in my Christianity, because the ideas they're incredibly interesting, but they're empty of answers, right? Now, Robert Charles Wilson is a very, very interesting man, and I want to talk to you about him, okay? So his book is just like every other really good science fiction book. By the way, Spin won the Hugo Award. This is like an award-winning book, right? It blew me away. I absolutely love this book. Right? But here's the thing that this book that almost no other books I've ever read in science fiction did. It perfectly balanced the sacred and the secular, right? So Robert Charles Wilson has this really secular story, this godless story, right, of first contact with aliens, right? And then mixed into that story is the story of these cattle ranchers who are looking for a perfect red heifer, okay? Now, in Revelation, the book of Revelation, it talks about, and in other spots in the Bible, it talks specifically and says, when the end times come, right, there's going to be a sacrifice on the altar in Jerusalem, and there's going to be this perfect red heifer. Every single hair on this cow, right, is going to be red, right? So because it says this in the Bible, right, people literally today are looking for that perfect red cow. And so whenever there's a cow that almost all the hairs look like it's, like it's red, it's this perfect specimen, this red heifer, people are like, oh crap, this could be the end times, right? And so it's this super dope, really niche thing, right? And only evangelical Christians really know this, and only a sliver of evangelical Christians know about this eschatology, end times signal, right? Which, if there's this perfect red-haired cow born, it means that Satan's coming real soon. You're going to hear some trumpets blasting in the sky, and Jesus is going to be like, I'm bringing up all my Christians up to everybody else. The rest of you are left here, right? Now, here's the thing, right? Secular people, they don't know nothing about this, right? Actually, many secular people who write, especially the ones that write science fiction novels, do know about this, but generally secular people, they don't know anything about eschatology, they don't know anything about end times, right? But Robert Charles Wilson's, he balances perfectly both, right? when I read his book, I'm like, this dude is not a Christian. I don't think he was a Christian, right? But then he had perfect knowledge of Revelation, perfect knowledge of eschatology from an evangelical Christian perspective, right? He had perfect knowledge of this end time signal that was coming, right? And I was like, whoa, this guy knows secular and sacred, right? That is unique. Now, why do we need someone as the Secretary of Transportation that knows the secular and the sacred? Well, I will tell you right now, driverless cars, right? So right now, all over this country, we got little teams of dudes who should be writing an app to tell how you're going to get your Taco Bell to your house, from the store to your house, like a new Diner Dash or whatever, right? There are people who used to just write apps to get your points for Monster sodas. Those people, those men and women, are now writing code to decide which humans live and which humans die, right? That is what you need to do to create a driverless car, right? Because, and the thing is, when I got my vehicle, right, I had to choose, I had to get a license, right? And I had to take that very, very seriously, right? I had to be incredibly careful, right? I have to make sure that we protect everybody out there, right? Right now, we have people who are writing code to say, okay, here's the code, blah, 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 blah. Car, if you are, speeding along and it's raining, reduce your speed by 10 miles, right? But there's a point where it says, okay, car, if you read, right, that there is a 5-year, if your sensors tell you there is a 5-year-old child that has run into the street chasing a ball in front of you, and you have 4 passengers in your car, and then you read that there's a tree over to the left, and if you swerve, you will slam yourself, you as the driverless car, will slam yourself into a tree and kill 4 people, or you're going to hit that 5-year-old child that just ran out. Here's the code to decide which one dies, which group dies. The 5-year-old kid or the 4 people in your vehicle, right? You know who you need to make that kind of code to determine if the decisions that were made in that code is right? You need somebody who understands the secular and the sacred. Now, me as an evangelical Christian, I would love to give that decision to my pastor, right? But I know some of you out there ain't down with, with an evangelical Christian pastor deciding who lives and who dies when it comes to driverless cars, right? And I also know with the government, that is civics, right? I can't say, hey, my decisions as an evangelical Christian need to be your decisions, lock, stock, and barrel. I need to share, Scott Garibay, who believes in the sacred, Jesus Christ, right? I need to share this nation with the secular. People were like, I don't even think Jesus Christ was a dude, right? Whatever, right? So whatever they believe. They believe, pretty much people believe everything about Jesus Christ except that it was God, if you're on the secular side, right? So, good teacher, blah, 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 right? So, here's the thing. You need somebody, if you're going to have somebody from the government who's deciding, who's saying, okay, I've checked the code for the decision on which humans live and which humans die, you need somebody who understands the secular and the sacred. And nobody on this planet is better at that than Robert Charles Wilson. He is an absolute thought leader. He understands both the secular and he understands the sacred. He's the perfect person to be the Secretary of Transportation as we decide to give essentially sentience to our vehicles and allow them to decide which humans live and which humans die. That's my opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion on the topic. Please let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.